Welcome again to yet another beautiful show, Humanist TV Africa. And we are here again to introduce our team to our dear viewers. Welcome, welcome, welcome to yet another beautiful edition of our introduction of our TV, Humanist TV Africa. You are once again welcome to this beautiful channel, this beautiful TV for humanists. Humanist TV Africa, of course, is for everyone, but the initiators are humanists based in Africa. You are most welcome again to yet another beautiful production, beautiful show for Humanist TV Africa. My name is Kato Mukasa. I'm part of this team, and of course, I'm going to be taking you through the session today. Of course, together with my panel, with my team, we are doing the introduction to show you who you would be working with. We are going to be working with a wonderful team of over 10 people across Africa, and we are going to be briefing you with so many things each day. Each day we shall be coming to you to discuss, to give you information, to entertain you, to educate, to learn, to learn. As you know, a TV is supposed to inform, educate, and entertain. So, welcome once again. This is Humanist TV Africa, and my name is Kato Mukasa. In the studio is Dennis Bongole, who is based in Uganda, and of course, there are Kabeko Brian, who is based in Kenya. Of course, my team is picked across Africa from Ghana, Nigeria, Zambia, Zimbabwe, South Africa. We are here to work with you, and of course, we shall continue growing because our intention is to cover the entire African continent, and we feed you with only the truth, news, information, education, everything about Africa. Everything about Africa. We're going to be giving you the facts that you rarely see on your usual media. We're going to be dismantling, debunking lies, mythology, and everything that has been propagated, the propaganda, the dogma, and things that really keep Africa behind. We shall talk about politics, we shall talk about the economy, we shall talk about agriculture, we shall talk about banking, we shall be talking about so many things, family values, raising children, culture, language, economics, history. We are a channel that is going to be talking about all these things, discussing them right here on this TV. We shall be having shows and interviews, including street interviews, including breaking news, all right here on this channel. So I want to welcome you once again to yet another live broadcast right from the heart of Africa. And this is Humanist TV Africa. The panelists today, of course, we have our comrade brother, Nana Kufo from Ghana. Of course, Chinama Tauya from Zimbabwe. Welcome, Ghana, and welcome, Zimbabwe.
Welcome, Comrade Kato.
Yes, welcome once again, Nana Kufo. Welcome, Zimbabwe.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my brother Kato.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm going to use these days I'm becoming religious, so I'm using religious words because I was raised by a Catholic mom. So I'm going to use the word blessed. I'm blessed to have all of you.
We are also blessed to have you.
Yeah, the viewers, because I know
you were raised by a Catholic mom. I was training to be a priest. Just imagine. So I think I'm ahead of you when it comes to know the doctrine of the Catholic Church.
Yeah, you are my sir there. You are my senior there. Me, I was raised in a Catholic family, but my father was secular and my mother was strictly religious. But I ran away from religion by the time I was 12 years. So I was so lucky that I ran away a bit earlier than you did.
All right. For me, the father was traditionalist and the mother was Catholic. So I am a hybrid.
Yeah, you are very lucky. Now,
I'm non-religious. Imagine a Catholic and a traditionalist producing a non-religious.
Oh, that's very interesting. And of course, Tawia Chinama is from Zimbabwe. We didn't have him yesterday. We shall begin right with Tawia Chinama from Zimbabwe. We want to welcome you again as a panelist, as a producer, as a director of Humanist TV Africa. We want to welcome you again and say, can you please introduce yourself again to the viewers?
All right, thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother, for welcoming me. I hope my device is not picking some noises because there are some people who are enjoying not far from where I am, but now I think their music is a bit low. But anytime you might hear some music. All right, the one speaking is Tawia Chinama from Zimbabwe, and I'm not too old. I'm just 31. And unfortunately, I went to train as a priest at a younger age. I went when I was around 20. So, but I later on left. Why? My studies, when I was studying philosophy, managed to open my mind actually. So, and I don't know where to start, but let me just try to be as brief as possible in this presentation. Being born on the 4th of March, 1992, in the second largest city of Zimbabwe called Bulawayo, and the city is nicknamed the City of Kings and Queens. I grew up in the rural areas in the place called Masvingo in Zimbabwe. That is where you find the great Zimbabwe. Some they call it ruins, but I think to just say great Zimbabwe is enough, but to say ruins, I think is a little bit negative. That is where I did my primary and secondary education. Despite my mother being a Catholic, she wasn't that person who would force you to go to church against your will. She was someone who would allow you to go when you want. And I got interested in religion a little bit late in my life. It was around 2010 when I was in Form 5. I got so interested. I was so worried about how many churches are so divided. I was worried about intolerance. So even up to today, I normally write a lot and talks a lot about tolerance. So when I joined the priesthood, I was thinking that if I get into a position where I will be in a position of decision making, probably I would try to influence. But through the process, I actually realized that it was impossible. And through realizing some of the flaws of religious systems, I then realized, I normally say this statement time and again, I then realized that I was too honest to be a priest. Because I couldn't stomach some of the inconsistencies. I couldn't stomach some of the loopholes we have. So I decided to let it go. But anyway, I was asked to stay for some time and reflect. You know, they can't just let you go easily. But finally, I left. When I left, as I said earlier, I am a person who likes to be in a position of decision making. I am a person who likes advocacy. I'm a person who likes to see people being active participants in creating systems and policies which actually governs their lives, which actually governs their welfare. I'm happy I hear our brother Kato said we are going to be discussing politics. Of course, that's also my field. And I'm also the team leader and founder of a youth civic organization in Zimbabwe called Social Democrats Association, which is advocating and lobbying for the inclusion of young people into decision-making boards. Because the problem we have in most countries in Africa, you rarely find young people in decision-making boards. And it means the decision of the young people is left out. The voice of the young people is absent in the laws of the country, is absent in how the institution of the country is built. So I think if we manage to have more young people in decision-making boards, they'll make decisions which actually drives sustainable institutions, sustainable development. I have nothing against all the people, but I really doubt that a person who is probably 80 could think of how the country could be in the next 40 or 50 years. But a person who is like me, who is just 31, I'm expecting to be alive in the next 50 years. So I have to be really, really serious, taking into consideration some of the things where if I start to work on a thing today, by the time I reach 50, that is 20 years from now, probably some results will be seen. But if someone who is 80, I doubt, because we, as humanists, we are in touch with reality. It's rare for people to reach 100. But as humanists, we desire to leave this earth better than the way we found it, because religion promotes people to see earth as just a transitory place where they are just waiting to go to another place where they can enjoy more than they are doing now. And this is so received in setup of places like Africa, in developing countries, where we think having a good life, we think things like driving a car, we think it's heavenly, we think it's a blessing. That's why I think there was a recent research that majority of Africans, when they go to the first world countries, their religiosity reduces. Why? Because they start to see that some of the things they were praying for, they will easily get those things without even praying for them. So I'm happy that we have started this TV session, and personally, I would like to do the programs to do with politics and economics. Then also programs around freedom of thought, conscience, and religion or belief. As a humanist, I believe in secularism. What is secularism? Secularism is that you treat all religions in a particular state equally without preference for one. Not even a single religion should be given preference or should be given chance to take taxpayers' money. So if the government decides to give particular religions money, let it be given to all, even the non-religious. For example, here in my country, it is easier for people to assume that everyone is Christian. You see national events being started by prayers and punctuated by prayers. Even some independent celebrations, where we would have probably an ambassador of Israel who is Jewish, an ambassador of Iran who is Muslim, and the ambassador of Caribbean islands who is probably Rastafarian, and the other ambassadors who might not be Christians, but it is forced in them. And even when you are traveling long distance with buses, people easily assume if they say, let us do a prayer. And as a person who is for tolerance, I actually encourage people to start those meetings with a moment of silence. A moment of silence is a bit tolerant, in the sense that in the moment of silence, Kato, who is not religious, probably will be laughing in his heart, saying, what these guys are saying in their hearts. A Christian will be saying a prayer. A traditionalist will be talking to his ancestors. Probably a Muslim will be saying a word of peace, the same with the Jewish. And that alone, and I think one of the best countries when it comes to that, I think is South Africa. They tried their best to do so. And I think the rest of Africa has to follow. And I think also humanism in regards to politics has to help us to think beyond the partisan lines in our different countries. We think along partisan lines in different countries. Sometimes we blame our own government. Yes, it is a non-secret that personally I don't agree with my government on so many issues. But that certain issues where I see my government is correct here. For example, we look at the Western world. Today, we can all agree as people, whether you are humanists or not, that slave trade and colonialism were evil. Yes. So did justice prevail? Africa was subjected to colonialism, to slave trade for over 300 years, which means that those who subjected us to slave trade, they all asked 300 years of reparations. For example, I heard recently the Church of England was said to put something like 100 million to compensate for the role they played in the slave trade. I think 100 million is not enough. They should actually give us more. And the man which is being said to be debt, the man which is being said to be aid, I call that money conscience money. What is conscience money? Conscience money is the man which is paid by a person who is feeling guilty for the evils he did in the past. You see? So as Africans, we can't think beyond that. Yes, we have to agree that in the slave trade and colonialism, our own leaders betrayed us because they facilitated it. Our own chiefs. So they have to be held accountable. So we have to think beyond that. So if we don't acknowledge a problem as a problem, we can't even find a solution. We have to acknowledge a problem as a problem first. So if we blame the state of Africa today, and we don't look at how Africa has been forced to be subject to those nations, we don't have we have nothing against them. We have nothing against them, but let them agree that they were wrong. For example, I don't support Liverpool, I support Manchester City. But look, you know how Liverpool was formed? It was formed by former merchants who were involved into slave trade.
Slave trade,
so
including Arsenal.
Yeah, the proceeds from those slave trade formed a Liverpool club, and the majority of ships which were used to transport the slaves were actually built in Liverpool. So you see all those things we don't. Here in Zimbabwe, there is a lady which is called Mbuyanihan. The way she was killed here for fighting for social justice, she was hanged, and her head was taken to UK. Up to this day, it is there.
Wow.
If I go to UK as a Zimbabwean, to go into the museum, I have to pay, which means I'm paying to go and see the evidence of torture of my
your
ancestors.
Own people.
Imagine, you pay. They're making money out of displaying those. So for now, I think I can end here, and I'm sure some of these issues we have to take them in detail in our programs as time goes on, and I'm sure we are going to be one of the greatest TV station which is actually very scientific, and which is not actually biased towards one religion, because as humanists, according to my own understanding, yes. Even among humanists, we might have a militant atheist, but I think majority of us humanists, we are for secularism, where we believe in treating all religions equally, where we believe in being we respect a human person regardless of his or her religious affiliation, his or her economic endowment, his or her political affiliation. I think for now I can leave it so that my brother can also say something, or probably you might have something to ask. I never know.
Of course, I
Thank
do
you.
have what to ask. Thank you so much, brother Tawia Chinama. Those of you who have been following our shows, Tawia Chinama is not a new person on this set, though we have rebranded into a bigger network. Now we are Humanist TV Africa. Of course, Chinama talked about so many things which are factual and very important. I'm hearing some bit of feedback. Can someone please mute us? A bit of feedback there. Now, someone should mute yourself. I hear some bit of background noise a bit. Now, Chinama, from what I've said, I'm picking a few things quickly. Of course, this TV station is not against anyone, is not against any religion, is not against any individual, is not against any race, because humanists are for humanists. Whereas we agree with everyone in the studio that we have different skin shades, I don't agree that it is a white race, there is a black race. I don't agree on that. I do agree that we have one race, which is the human race, but with different skin color. That's one thing, my line of argument. Now, when we are different as individuals, we remain one people from one common ancestry with the rest, as evolution talks about it. Now, when we agree on that we are one people and that all religions were simply brought and forced onto us, either by our grandparents or great-great-grandparents, because people forget that actually in Africa, we had our own religions. People forget that. When you talk about religion, someone says, oh, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Shinto, whatever it is, they forget that we have what you call African tradition religion. That in Ghana, you have your own gods. In Zimbabwe, I know you have your own gods. I am a god in my own setting because my names are names of a god. Mukasa is a name of a sea god. And my name is Mukasa. It's my family name. It's the name of a sea god. Now, you must be so blind to think that, oh, Africans never had a religion. We had. Some of us are gods because our names are names of gods. My name, Kato, is a name for Katonda. And Katonda is a name of the supreme god in my tribe. But why I have it as Kato is a short name to mean the young twin. Because I'm a twin, if you have two boys, the last boy will believe in my culture that is the one who makes a mother and a father to be given the titles of a father of twin and a mother of twin. It's not the first person, it's the second. You get the logic? Because the first person is Nana, the first person is Chinama. Therefore, they had one. Now, for me, I came the second. There's my brother who is named Waswa. And we may have 1,000 Waswas in Uganda. We may have 1,000 Katos in Uganda. Because it's a title given to a twin. I think I'm explaining this one much more clearly. So, when I was at the university, for the first week, I was so shocked that in my hall, we were 6 Katos. And to make matters worse, in my hall, university hall, I was in Mitchell Hall. The biggest university in East Africa is called Makerere University, and the oldest one in that region. I went to that prestigious university. Now, in my hall, which is called Mitchell Hall, we had 6 Katos. And to make matters worse, not only Kato, but 4 Katopos. Because my Christian name is Paul. So here I was in Mitchell Hall with 4 individuals called Kato Paul. Now, and in my course, economics, we were 2 Kato Pauls. When I went to do law to finalize as an advocate, I met other 3 Kato Pauls. Now, I am a spokesperson to the world clearly. Now, you find that Kato Pauls are duplicated all over Uganda. Why? I asked. My mother told me, and rightly so, that the year I was born, it was the year they had a pope. I think he had just been elected or whatever it is, how they call it in Catholicism. And that pope was called John Paul. Now, me being from a Catholic family with a mother who is ultra Christian, my mother gave me the name Paul. She tells me every time. Up to now, my mother doesn't refer to me with any other name apart from Paul. She refused to know that I have actually refused to have the name. She is stuck because she says, that is my name and you are my son. So, and this is her name. So my name is Paul. In fact, I left it on all my academic documents. All my travel documents have my name, Paul, because my mother loves it, because my mother gave it to me. Now, I understood that in 1978, the year I was born, many twins were born, but also many twins were given the same name. Now, what made me different was my family name, the Mukasa. So what I did at the university, I remained with my Paul because it is official name. I use it up to now, but I ensured that all my classmates, all my hallmates, all my friends at the university knew me as Kato Mukasa, so that they can be able to distinguish me from the rest of Kato Pauls. You get the dilemma? I think I'm explaining why I was stuck to use my name Kato Mukasa instead of the Paul. Yet I have 3 names on my documents. But people don't know my other middle name, that my other middle name is Paul, because I am baptized Paul, and my mother said, that is your name. I had no discussion. I had no choice. She told me, that is your name, and you are my child. You must obey. So I obeyed her. Up to now, I carry the name Paul silently. But I use Kato Mukasa because that is what the world knows. You are most welcome. Comrade Obasi, welcome again. You phoned me explaining my name. I don't know whether you have heard what I was explaining. So, Chinama is off the screen. Now, Obasi is here, is a young lawyer. Of course, we had him yesterday. I was explaining why, when I was born, I was given a Christian name by my mother, and the name is Paul, which name I use up to date on all my academic documents and travel documents. And my mother always warns me, they remove it. That is my name. My mother tells me that is her name. She gave me. Now, as I said, for Obasi who have just joined, that when I went to university, we were 6 Pauls, 6 Kato Pauls. It was terrible. So I said, look, I want to get into this bandwagon of Paul. In my course unit, we are 2 Kato Pauls. How does the lecturer identify us? It was the index number and my other 3rd name. So I told my lecturers that, look, I've given my Paul name to that Paul. So don't call me Paul, now call him Paul. Me, I'm Kato Mukasa. I've given him my other Paul. So he has 2 Pauls. So that's how stubborn I was. So when I was writing my exams, we could always put the names. Then after 1 year, the university changed the system where we are not putting the names. We could always put our index numbers so that they mark you without knowing who you are. So that's how I survived using the name Paul throughout the university, though officially it remained part of my name. You are welcome. You are welcome on set. Chinam, I think it's you.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah, we are going to improve on your light, of course, in the next production. We shall work on your light.
Unfortunately, since my light is not brighter enough, and my network is falling. That's why I left you for a few minutes. Then I tried to get back, but yeah, I managed.
At least we can see 2 things. We can see your white teeth and your brown face. Now, that's how Africans are blessed. We are blessed with our white teeth. Everyone can see. Even if I'm the darkest in the room, they can see my white teeth.
For sure, they're very clear. Sure, you can see the white teeth.
So we can see you. I always joke when I have my Caucasian friends that, you see, you may not see my face because I'm too dark, but at least you are going to see my teeth. They are white. And they all laugh because I keep on joking with almost everyone. Now, having said that, welcome Obasi. Of course, Chinama, I was trying to make more addition on what you are saying. And I want to end with this on what Chinama said, that in Africa, as humans, we are one. In fact, all of you viewers, you have been seeing our foreign comrade, Linda Tilly. She's African. She's us. So, us as humanists, one thing we fight is racism. For me, Chinama, if anyone used our platform to preach against any people, I'll be the first person to deactivate that person. Because humanism doesn't teach us that. Humanism doesn't teach us to hate others simply because of their birth, simply because of their location, simply because of their privilege.
Of course, we are all African in this world, because
Yes.
science tells us that life started in Southern Africa.
Yes.
So I am where life started as I speak now. Everyone else is an African. Of course, there's that story of Eden, of course, we know it. But science says otherwise.
There. That's beautiful there. That's evolution, whatever story Dawkins and others have been pointing that out. We are all Africans.
I think our brother Richard Dawkins is always clear about that, that we are all Africans. Despite him being white, or like, some people, they take advantage of being white. And I'm happy that there are some people who are said to be white, but they're very clear. And it is a pity that we no longer have our sister, Linda Tilly. And I think she was in that category of the likes of Richard Dawkins, people who would respect a person, regardless of your skin color.
Yes.
Then there are some people who think that the fact that you have a darker skin, so it's inferiority, but it's not, of course.
Chinama and Obasi, we are going to use this TV to educate people who are inherently stupid. We are going to use this TV, I repeat it, to educate people who are inherently stupid, to tell them that my brain is what matters, not my skin. So, whatever bias people have, we shouldn't have. We should know that they are victims of their own biases. Chinama and Obasha should tell you that I know Africans who are racists.
Yes.
I know black people, Ghana is back, Nana. I know black people who are ultra racists. Black people who think that everyone came from them, which may be a fact, but therefore they are superior than everyone else. I know black people who say that because for us we have melanin as if others don't have, therefore we are so intelligent, we are so energetic, we are so what? Now, those are superiority complex black people. They are there. I know black people who were attacking Linda Tilly until when I went to the platform where she was being attacked and I bashed them. And they were attacking her because she's speaking for Africans. They think Africans means black. They are so stupid. You see? So now, that's why for us as humanists who are educated, we are going to help even black people. But also we are going to help even the so-called, and I'm using the word deliberately, the so-called white, because there is no white person. Chinama, Obasi is having a t-shirt that is white. Is there a person who has that skin? So why do people call themselves white?
There is no one with the color of that t-shirt, of course.
There's no white person. Bullshit.
I think that is social engineering.
Exactly. It's a social construct. And I will come here on our program and I will showcase where it all started and how they fooled everyone and why they had to do it and why they have to measure white with black. I'll explain, because brown is okay, but black and white, they are like competing. Yet, in fact, there's no white person. So how stupid can people be to think that one is white and one is black? Yet there's no white. So you get it. But people up to now will call others, she's white, she's white. There's no white person. No white person. These are Caucasians. And they come in different shades of skins. They're different. They have different tones of skins. Just like us, there is no black person who is uniform. A Sudanese is different from me. Is different from an Ethiopian. Is different from a South African. A Nigerian, he may be different from me in skin color. A Ghanaian may have a different skin tone than mine. Not so. Because nature and environment shapes us differently. Though all of us may seem to be black, but you may not be exactly the same tonation. My grandfather, I was telling yesterday, the father of my mother, was extremely brown. And my mother is brown. But my father was black. And his father was black. So you can imagine that even Africans have different skin shades. So we have to use our channel to teach people out of their ignorance and out of their biases and indoctrination that, look, we are all human beings. We don't need to hate each other based on how we look. Because Chinama never chose to be black, if you want to call him black. Others will say that Nana is chocolate brown. I know many Africans who say, I'm chocolate brown. And they're fine with that. And that's okay. Because when you look at an Ethiopian, what do you see? When you look at a Somali, what do you see? A Somali is different from me. Completely different. Even the hair is different. But a Somali is African. So, to get back to Nana now, I was making lots of meaning to myself from what my brother had said. And I have to say to Chinama that my take is that we must tolerate each other. We must love to work with each other. We must understand each other, that we are one human race. All of us, as Chinama said, are Africans. Our origin is from Africa. Whether someone is Asian, whether someone is Caucasian, whether someone is African, we are one people. And we need to bring this unity, but use it to benefit Africa. We are going to be asking questions in your programs. How do we better Africa? How do we empower ourselves as Africans? Why should we be leaving our continent to go to other people's continents? Yet we have the best continent in the world. How do we fix our continent to be better? These are things I think we have to use our TV to propagate, that people know. How is Ghana so beautiful? Nigeria, if you look at Nigeria and look at your economy, you look at your minerals, Nigeria is one of the richest countries in the world. And I'm telling you this. I read economics. I know. Nigeria is one of the richest countries in the world. Ghana, one of the richest countries in the world. But why are we so poor? These are the questions we need to be asking as intellectuals of this generation. And then we find answers. Why the countries which are poorer than us, I can mention them in Europe. Europe has many poor countries. Many. But why do we think they are better than us? When actually we are doing better in terms of the environment, in terms of soil, in terms of mineral resources. Why is it that these countries are doing things better than us? So these are things which us intellectuals of Africa, from Africa, must come and put into context. So Nana, I want to invite you to again feed into this kind of discussion. Then from you, we shall directly go to Obasi.
Thank you very much, Comrade Kato. And in fact, today I'm really honored to be on this platform. I've learned a lot. We all learned in history. I did history in senior high school,
yeah.
And we are today. I have unlearned not to see Zimbabwe reigns, which means and it makes sense that I shouldn't see Zimbabwe reigns because Zimbabwe is still there. So I'm really grateful for this program. And moreover, I will introduce the general public to this great book written by Comrade Kato. It has been my Bible for now. So I will encourage all our viewers to get a copy of this book. Okay. In fact,
The God business.
The God business. Yeah, I encourage people to get a copy of the God business. It has really unveiled so many things that I didn't know. And to get back to the point, even I and my siblings have different skin tones. My younger brother is I have a chocolate color, as Kato said, and my junior brother it doesn't have the same skin color as I have. So can I be racist towards my junior brother? No. This is diversity, and it makes things beautiful. It makes
That's the book I'm talking about.
That's the book I'm talking about. Yeah, one of the greatest books.
I took about 10 years to write this book. About 10 years to research this book.
It is one of the greatest books ever written. If people will appreciate this book, yeah.
This book, yeah.
So, yeah. So, racism and even tribalism here in Ghana, tribalism is destroying everything. People are voting for political parties because they think these parties belong to their tribe, and when these people get into power, they misbehave, thinking, well, we have the largest tribe behind us. The current government is misbehaving because he is saying he has the accounts behind them, and even in the accounts, it's very divisive. We have Bono, we have Ashantis, but we are all one people, and we move from one places to the other. And when we move, languages will change. Linguistics teaches us that even the language we speak from one town is quite different from the next town. So it is diversity, and that doesn't mean a person from a different tribe or from a different ethnic group is an alien. No, we are one people. So we have to unlearn and learn history, learn embryology, learn science, learn so many things that will really shape our thinking to make us right thinking human beings. I'm really grateful to be here and to go forward to talk about my humanism. Yesterday we discussed a lot. We talked a lot about how we became a humanist. I wanted to tell the world that humanism. People usually ask me, I have been indoctrinated. Who has been indoctrinating you? Who have you? But I didn't get to atheism or humanism. Humanism was deliberate, but I didn't get to atheism. I was an atheist before I met Kato. Nobody taught me atheism. It is just if you are ready to learn about your environment, if you are ready to learn about this earth we are living in, you will definitely become a humanist, because we are being boxed in our own environment. That yesterday I said my parents were Catholic. I was born into a Catholic family, but I find out later that this is someone's wishful thinking. And how can I use my entire life, depend my entire life on someone's ideology? And as Kato said, we already had our religion. The Akans in Ghana, we are ancestral worshippers. African tradition, ancestral worshippers, and this religion fascinates me so much, because to make your generation or your people mention your name whilst you are not there, you have to live a good life. We don't worship anything. We don't worship anybody. When we want to pray, we just pour libation and mention the names of our great ancestors who came to live a beneficial life for all of us, who were humanists, who were not selfish, who were not greedy. So we mention their names for them to bless us with their knowledge whilst they were alive. So I think even the ancestral worshiping is far more better than that zombie. Excuse me, but when it comes to religion, Christianity, I have pepper mouth for it, because I've been really bashed. Yeah, I've really bashed for my atheism. So any chance I get, I try to retaliate. So sorry to anyone who will be watching us, but I have a peppermint for religion. So the African ancestral religion is very important. It makes the indigenous, or it makes the beneficiaries or the people who worship this religion realize that no, we have only one planet, one earth. So if I am able to live a good life for the next generation to come and mention my name, then I have to do that. I don't have to worship a dead man on, I was about to say a dead fight. That is why I said this platform is good for us to unlearn so many other things.
Speak your mind. Speak your mind. This platform, you shall speak the bad words. As long as you can't hurt anyone directly, you shall ridicule your religion and every dogma anyway.
Yeah, it is true. So why worship a dead man on a cross? Right now, I learned if you go to Israel, the Israelites, the Israelites there right now are discriminating against Christians. But with the war going on between Gaza and Israel right now, Christians are here. There's a church behind my house every night doing church service. If they won't allow you to sleep, praying for Israel. Whilst the Israelites are discriminating against Africans there, they're discriminating against Christians there. So where is your sense of reasoning when you think Israel is the land of the Almighty God? So I'm really glad to be here, and I'm ready to learn, because I see myself as a student of life. I learn almost every day. And Kato, before I go, one thing. In Ghana here, it is difficult to get books to read. I will tell you, people see Ghanaians as educated. We just know how to read and write. Me, for instance, I don't know how to speak the English language fluently, because the place I'm coming from, we speak our native language. It's everywhere you go. It's our only the native language we speak. I know how to write the English language by speaking it, because I don't have so many. I don't have people to speak the English language with. So I find it sometimes difficult trying to explain so many others, but it's all good. So let me end here so that my other brother will come in, because listening is more important than talking. So no, thank you very much, Kathy. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nana. Of course, Obasi will come in. Obasi, in light of what you have been talking about, yeah, your entry point now, pick it from where you want. Wherever you want, you pick it from there and continue. Yes, Obasi.
Thank you. Thank you.
Obasi, your network is getting a hiccup. Your network, Obasi. Of course, as we wait for Obasi to get back online. Nana, thank you so much. I mean, you have said it very, very well. And, you know, this is Africa. And sometimes I wonder why we think that because my English is not so good, that if I'm not good. English is a damn language, just like Chinese, just like Kinyarwanda, just like Luganda, just like any other language. It's just a language. English is not a measure of intelligence. Yeah. My great parents who never spoke English were wiser than myself. The only difference between me and them is that I know a bit of science, which they never knew. But there's no way I'll ever belittle my ancestors. That's why I get mad when I hear people breaking spirits of their ancestors. I hear curses. Me, my ancestors were never a problem. And I don't have anything against my ancestors. So, and I have to tell you this, my brother Nana, that we keep learning. You are still young. There's room to learn. Even me, I learn every day. And what makes us better, me and you, is that each day we want to learn. There are people I know who are more educated than myself, but they are very ignorant. Because having a university degree is not a measure of wisdom. Yeah. It's not a measure of intelligence. I know many people having a PhD when they are so stupid and dull. because you have a PhD in insects. You can have a PhD in anything, including a PhD in air, a PhD in anything. You can specialize in any nonsense in the world, and they give you a PhD. You can have a PhD in theology. Any nonsense, you can specialize and have a PhD. So for me, having a PhD is not the issue, though I want it, to be honest, and I want to go for it, but for a good cause. But I cannot say, because I don't have a PhD, I'm dull. No. Someone who never went to school may even be more intelligent than myself.
Yeah.
My grandfathers were more intelligent people than myself.
Yeah.
I always give them credit because they taught me so much that I didn't learn in school. My grandfather, my maternal, I always talk about him, taught me accounts, taught me mathematics, taught me science. He never went beyond J2. He used to tell me, I used to tell me, Kato, my grandsons, whatever, I am a product of J2. Whoever knows my seniors watching me, they know what J2 means. But my grandfather knew accounts. My grandfather was an accountant of a cooperative society where he was a partial owner. He was a rich man. But my grandfather never went to college. My grandfather never went to university. But he was rich and he was intelligent and he was atheist.
Wow.
You see? So now, to me, to someone to say, oh, I don't have a degree. Oh, he has a degree, then I face, but what nonsense is that? A degree was started somewhere in Egypt. We can trace the history of degrees, and I can teach on that. How degrees came into existence, how the nonsense was crafted, because they want to give you an honor to show that you are better than these other people in this field. A degree was simply formed in Egypt. History can trace degrees, how they began, and the history of what we call a degree. A degree is nonsense. Is nonsense. I have 3 degrees which are nonsense. If I don't use my wisdom, my 3 degrees are useless. I was speaking. I don't come here and say, I have a master's in law, so what? Yes, I'm international lawyer, international commercial law, a master's in international commercial law. Yes, I know commercial law international. Yes, but so what? Does it make me better human? No. A degree is simply paper. What makes us humans is the wisdom. What makes us humans is the humanity we have. The way I deal with you, the way I deal with my sisters, Mariam, others, everyone in the world is what makes me a better person, not the degrees. I may have 4 PhDs. When I was at the university, one of my lecturers had 3 PhDs. 3 PhDs. And we used to call him Doctor. Because the guy had what? 3 degrees.
3 PhDs,
PhDs. We used to call him, anyone I was with at the university knows him. We used to call him Doctor. 3 damn PhDs. He had gone to all these countries in Europe studying, looking for what he called knowledge. But the guy was empty. I'm telling you, he was my professor. I wanted to choose him here because I respect him. I will excuse him here. But he was empty.
Yeah, I understand.
But he had 3 PhDs and I used to call him Doctor. So for me, when I observe who taught me with all these papers, I know that having a degree is not the alpha and omega of wisdom. Yeah. I know that my grandfather, who stopped in J2, was more intelligent, was more wealthy, was more understanding, was more humane. He knew science. He refused to have a car, yet he had lots of money. He was driving a bicycle. Because when I asked him, he told me, look, I want to be healthy. But the guy owned a coffee factory.
Wow.
Owned a coffee factory. At this time, he had farms. He was very rich. But he lived a very humble life. And in that coffee factory, because he was a director, they were owning it with other people. He was the accountant to keep the money because he was the biggest shareholder in Equator Coffee Growers. I can even mention the name. But my grandfather was the biggest shareholder. He owned it and was the accountant with a J2 education. And he would ride his bicycle to go to his office when others were driving cars. Of his status. He was rich. He had farms, he had plantations of forests and all that. We had coffee plantations, banana plantations. You could buy whatever you wanted. But my grandfather was the most humble person I've ever met. When my grandmother died, he never married. That's why whenever we went to visit him, he said, I'm the woman, I'm the man. He cooked his own food. And when we went to visit him, we became the cooks. He was damn disciplined. He never took alcohol. He never smoked. He was very disciplined. I admire my grandfather. And I told you yesterday, he was called Bassi. Brown man, very intelligent, very articulate, very principled man. But he never went to a college. He never had a degree. So when someone tells me I have a PhD, I say, so what? So what? Does it make you a better person? A PhD is good. All of us may want to have them. But me, I will never undermine anyone because of the education. Because life has taught me that education is simply education. And you cannot actually be miseducated. Ghana, Nana, in Ghana, Ghana, Nigeria, all of us have had one similar colonial master. The British. One similar colonial master. And we have followed their education system. I'm a lawyer. The laws I studied at all levels I went to, 3 levels of studying law. All the laws we were studying were made here in England.
Yeah.
We were studying laws made here where I'm based right now. You get it? So we are simply studying a system that is not ours, but a system that has been transplanted from England and brought to colonies where England is the leader. And I still say that our countries are under the English system. Our countries are under the British colonization. I always speak that, and people say, oh, we are independent. I tell them, you are dreaming. We are still under the British. Whether you want it or not, you may have your puppet presidents. Welcome. But the system I know, the economics I studied at university, the laws I've studied, everything shows me that Britain is still very much alive in Uganda. Britain is still very much alive in Ghana. Britain is still very much alive in Nigeria. And there's nothing we can do about it. Because even as I speak right now, I'm using English. So until we accept that there are things which are so hard to break that we must accept and change what we can as intellectuals and accept to adopt what we can adopt, because English becomes good that we communicate with you. Otherwise, how could I speak Ashanti?
Yeah.
How would you speak my language? So when I meet a Pan-Africanist who says, oh, they are colonizers, oh, English is bad, I say, are you stupid? Because how else would I be speaking with you? Because my Swahili is poor. And the people in Ghana don't know Swahili. But Swahili is East African language. It's only East Africa. It's not yet in West Africa. So we don't have a cross-cutting language. Therefore, there's no way we can say, oh, English is bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. Because for now, it's a language of communication. Like it or not, we need it.
Yeah.
Even if I may hate the lyrics about it, how it came, yes. But is it useful to me now? Yes, because I can speak with Ghana. I can speak with Nigeria. I can speak with Zimbabwe. I can speak with Malawi. The entire world, I can easily communicate because English became a business language.
Yeah.
So for me, as a thinker, I no longer see English as a bad thing. It's a good thing. I was telling people that, look, my children, because I'm intermarried, my children belong to different tribes. We don't speak local language in my home. Yes, they know the local language, but we have been emphasizing English because we come from different tribes. And after all, whether I want it or not, English is the medium of commerce.
Yeah. Yes.
It's the medium of commerce. My child will want to go to Russia. She will start speaking English first. then she'll learn Russian. She will never go there and speak Luganda, Chinyarwanda, whatever. No, she won't. Because in that country, Chinyarwanda, Luganda, whatever it is not known. So I better teach my child as a child English. Like it or not, it's going to help this child. If tomorrow I have a chance to teach my child Spanish, I will teach my child Spanish. If tomorrow I have a chance to teach my child French, I will do so. German, I will do so, because these are languages. She can become an interpreter in an embassy tomorrow.
Yeah.
And to me, what I'm looking at is, how will my children survive when I die? Therefore, should I hate the Spanish for their Spanish? Should I hate the French for their French? It's not their Mr. Travel language that took over. What can I do, therefore? What I can do is to learn the language. If they're intelligent enough and they come to my country, let them learn Luganda. And I can tell you, I know many Caucasians, many Asians, many Indians who speak my language better than so many Ugandans. I tell you this, whoever watches me will tell you. In Uganda, as I speak today, there are priests from Scotland, from Britain as a whole, who speak better vernacular than Ugandans. So, because when they came, they saw, they conquer. I came, I saw, I conquer. That is history. They conquered us in all ways. When we are wise enough to learn our own languages, those who could manage. Therefore, it's also upon us to learn their own languages. And for me, if you don't know my language, you are at a disadvantage, Nana. I tell you this, and I'm going to repeat it. If you don't know my language, you are at a disadvantage, because I will backbite you right under your nose. You get it? So for me, when I am speaking with an English man or woman, I'm happy because I can speak with her. But she's sad because she cannot understand my language. Therefore, I can speak whatever I want and she won't understand. Therefore, it's wiser for her, if we are going to get married, for example, to know my language. So that when my brothers call, when my sisters call, she can eavesdrop and know, oh, Kato talk about this. Oh, okay. If she comes in my home and my relatives don't know English, she can also fit, she can greet them. It's not a way of indoctrinating, it's not a way of colonizing, it's not a way of taking over, it's a way of being smart. We call it being street smart. If I came to Ghana and I married a Ghanaian, Ashanti, Fanti, whatever it is, trust me, I'll learn that language in 2 years. I'll leave everything else and I learn that language, because how will I be able to fit into the society? How will I be able to talk with my in-laws when I go there? Will I greet them in English? I'll look fake. I'll learn the basic, like, how are you? I'll learn the basic. Give me food. Give me this. Give me water. What if tomorrow I'm sick and someone doesn't know my language, comes to treat me? How will I communicate with her or with him? So going back, as Africa, we need to accept that there are things we may not change. And say, okay, these things happened and they are part of us, they are part of life. Like language. What's wrong with English? Let us speak it. But let us not judge Kato who doesn't speak it better. Oh, look at the accent of Kato. Kato is not English. Therefore, don't force me to speak the accent of an Englishman. In fact, the Englishman should be happy to hear that I can speak a few words and she or he understands.
Yeah.
Because an Englishman, an Englishwoman cannot speak my language now. And when I say my language, I mean my mother tongue. Therefore, if an Englishman made mistakes in speaking my mother tongue, why should I be laughing? In fact, I will be happy that this man is trying to learn something about me. In fact, this man values my culture, because language is a weapon, language is culture, language is social norm, language is a tradition. So until Africans understand, that's why for me, if you have been following me, I have a big battle with Pan-Africanism, the way it is. And today, me and you and others will come here and talk about Pan-Africanism and why I call it Pan, using P-U-N and K, because these are racists. And for me, I hate racism. When someone says Africans, I ask them, what do you mean? Which Africans do you mean? When you go to Europe and stay there and marry from there, do they chase you? If they do, it's a problem. But don't say this land is for us. It means you don't know history. All of us are foreigners. The Americans in America today, they were not there. They simply weren't there. In fact, America had black people, had Indians. If you look at history, one day will come and teach that history, how it all began. America never had Caucasians. They simply settled there. They're all settlers. They're all foreigners. So when I went to, I've gone to America several times, but if I happen to stay in America, for example, in the US, and someone said, African, go away, I laugh at them. You are stupid. My ancestors were here earlier in the US than yours. And at the end of the day, all of us are immigrants. So that's why when I look at an African in Africa, say whites must go in their ignorance because they are no white people. Indians must go. I say, are you stupid? They go where? They go where? This is their home. Just like where they stay is our home. So when I find a racist who says, black man, go away, I laugh at them. I just know this is ignorant. He never went to school. If he went to school, he never studied. If he studied, he never learned. If he learned, he has no wisdom.
Yeah.
And I tell you, there are many Caucasians who are empty here. Many of them who are empty here. Just like many Africans, many black people are empty here. So for me, this skin is trash. Because many people are stupid, naturally are stupid. Because if you think that this melanin you have makes you better, you are stupid. I can tell you, I was in the Pan-African movement for almost 15 years. That's why I speak what I speak. That the Pan-Africanism I was into thought that because I'm black, that because I have what they call melanin or melanin, therefore they think I'm superior. There's a theory, and I've written about it in one of the books I've been published. And I debunk that stupid theory. To think that because I'm black, because I have more melanin, therefore it makes me better. Stupid. It doesn't make me better. But there are Africans, black people, who are having a superiority complex. But because the world has been taken over by all white style oppressing us, which is actually false, now they think that racism is only for white people. Yet racism is within all of us. All of us are racists. But we simply tone down. We say, you are in your village and see a Chinese come and say, what are these Chinese wanting in our country? You are racist.
Yeah.
All of us. You see an Indian in your village, say, what is this Indian wanting in our village? You are racist. Because it's like I say, this is ours. He should not be here. Now, why do you blame them when you go to their country and they discriminate you? When they come in your country, you want to discriminate them. That's why I get mad when I see South Africans killing fellow human beings. I won't even say fellow blacks because that is racist. When I see black people in South Africa killing black people, I'm not saying that they should kill white people, and they are not white people, I should always say that. But why should they be killing others? Because they have come to their country. You see? So I want to end it from there. So the point I'm making all in all is that we want to use this channel to educate, first of all, ourselves.
Yeah.
I learn from Obasi. I don't know anything. I keep learning. Me, my mentors have been Jews, have been English, have been Scottish, have been Germans, have been Africans, have been black people. Me, I was blessed to be mentored by the entire world. That's what I always say. My senior mentor was Jew. So why should I be hating Jews? What wrong have they done to me? People have been hating me, have been beyond Africa. Why should we be hating them? I should find a way how to work with them. So this is the message I want to take to people using this TV. That look, we are humanists. whether you're Muslim, whether you're Catholic, whether you're Shinto, whether you're Buddhist, whether it's Scientology, whatever it is, let us be one people. Whether you are an African traditionalist, as Obasi said that he had that background, well and good. All of us at one point have the traditionalism in us. The point is, how do we use our differences to move forward as a human race? Why should we be saying you're a Muslim, therefore you must die? You're a Christian, therefore you must die. When actually Christianity was not part of us. When actually Islam was not part of us. Why therefore should we be killing ourselves because of these fallen things? And I put fallen in quotes because there are theories which say that actually Islam came from Africa, Christianity came from Africa. You have had those theories. I know those theories, you know, because someone says in my book, I talk about someone who says that Jesus was black. You know, these are theories. These are theories. And I normally tell them in this book, I took so many years researching it. I always tell them that, okay, even if Jesus was black, so what? So what does it change? That therefore he was real, that therefore he did miracles, that therefore is important in my life because he was black. So unless we grow intellectually and help ourselves, Nana, I was just saying that we need, what we are going to do as a team, and why I'm happy to have all of you here, is that one.
I heard everything. I was listening.
Yes, that one, we are going to educate ourselves. I will come and learn from you. I will be quiet when you talk. I will learn. I will learn from Obasi. I will learn from Mariam. I will learn from Dennis, Brian, Chinama, Tawia, Ngoma, everyone. I will learn from everyone. Andu Nandipu, Mambu. I want to learn from people because I don't know how Sierra Leone is. I don't know how the culture is. I need to learn. I need to listen and learn. I don't know how the economy practice is. So we are going to learn from each other. But at the end of the day, we are going to educate the public. We are going to inform the public because many people look up to us. And as I sign out, I end my part. Life is unpredictable. None of us know when our life is going to end. So I always say that whatever chance you have, do it now. Whatever I want to do it now. I used to say to Linda, jokingly, I have so many audio voices. I used to say, Linda, I don't know when I'm going to die and how, but I have today. Let me use today to write my book. And she could tell me the same thing. I have written everything in a book. She would say, I don't know, tomorrow is not promised. Today is my day. That was Linda Catchword. And as you saw, she was hardworking always because that is life. I can leave this studio today and tomorrow you hear Kato is dead. Don't be surprised. That is the trajectory we all going to follow. That's the destiny. No one knows exactly when. So I always want to use my time profitably. And with life, you don't say, I'm 45 as I speak today. You don't say, I'm 22. Oh, I'm 35. Oh, I'm 30. I still have time. Even a child of one day dies. So it's important that we use the knowledge we have gathered. We have gathered. And when I say gathered, I use it deliberately because I always say that we have been self-educated. And I say deliberately, Nana, that we have been self-educated. I always said that myself, I'm a product of self-education. Because in the university, I was being miseducated. I don't say that. I'm going to repeat it for Nana. I mean, for Obasi before I leave. I'm going to repeat this one statement. That I've always told the world that I am self-educated. I have degrees, 3 of them. I have diplomas. But I always say I am self-educated. Apart from my grandfather's education, which I value, whatever I got from university was bullshit. They were simply training me to be a lawyer. And that's it. Argue cases win. But the wisdom I have, I took time to teach myself. My grandfather's did a lot of work, and I give them a lot of credit, but they never went to school that much. I told you that my grandfather, who is so important in my life, the father of my mother, was a J2 graduate, J2. But he was so knowledgeable than a PhD holder. You know, so I always say that we have been self-educated because universities have been there to indoctrinate us. A university has only helped me to get a skill, to earn a living, to do what we call job. I repeat this for Basi. A university only helped me to learn a skill, a lawyering skill. I'm a banker because in economics, I learned how to be a good banker, how to be a good forecaster, whatever it is. I can work in a bank, I can work in an NGO, I can work in a law firm, I can be a judge, I can be anything in the legal system. Because I was trained to do that job. I call it a job. But to me, that's not wisdom. And Obasi don't say, oh, I'm a lawyer, I know it all. You don't know it all. You have been just taught to go and argue cases and win battles. That's all. But the wisdom, you are going to teach yourself. And teaching yourself means you are going to learn from books written by sages, by people who have taken time. Oh, these are my books. This is my latest book. Think for yourself and do good better. This is my other book. Mama Africa, Tell Your Story. I wrote this when Linda was on my head. Write it, write it, write it. And I said, I'm going to write it for you. She was there. She has a forward in this book, Linda. Very beautiful book. If I give you the pictures, in this book, I tell you where we came from. And I have the pictorials, everything. It's a beautiful book with so much knowledge, well researched. Mama Africa, Tell Your Story, because I realized that others misinform people about Africans. They tell our story the wrong way. I said, tell your story. This book is a political book. The Villager Thief, the Villager Chief is a Cannibal, and other poems, the poetry book about Uganda's dictatorship. The Village Chief is a Cannibal, and other poems. One day, whoever will be there, please turn this book into a movie. It's a great book. Into a screenplay. If I die without turning it into that, please do that. I've said it online here. It's a great book about the dictatorship in Uganda, summarized in a poem that can be a play or a movie. This book. Now, this book here is Modern Humanism. All these are books written by me. Modern Humanism, and how to make it work for the people. Modern Humanism. I took years researching this book because I realized that there was a misconception about humanism. People thought that humanism is foreign to Africa. And in this book, I argue that, look, humanism is part of us. In fact, we don't borrow anything elsewhere. Humanism is African. Humanism is part of us. And when I say African, by extension, everyone is an African. So for someone to insult me and say, oh, humanists are copying West, come on. Humanism is African. Humanism started with us. And it will end with us. If it ends, humanism will end with the people in Africa, because we are the people that are largely practicing true humanism. There are people in Europe, in America, elsewhere, who are humanists, true humanists. But in Africa, you will find a humanist who doesn't know that he's a humanist. In Africa. That by practice, everything he or she does is a completely humanist. Because our traditions, our values teach us the ethical standards of a humanist. So if someone tells me, oh, humanists in Africa have been brought by whites, I tell them, come on, stop being ignorant. Number one, they are no whites. Number two, humanism is African. So in this book, I explain that. In fact, in this book, I also debunk what Yuval Harari, Yuval Noah Harari, that guy who wrote The God Business. I have his book here, a very good book. I've been reading his works. Noah Harari, this guy, Sapiens. You know this guy, great writer. Yuval Noah Harari, this Jew guy, great writer. I read his books, most of his books I've read. But in my book here, I debunk his nonsense when he talks about humanism, the way he does. And I tell him, look, you don't know what you're talking about. Though I respect him, I read his books, but I'm saying when he talked about humanism, this finding it from a scientific view, I was saying, no, look, in Africa, that's not humanism. You are defining something else. For us Africans, our humanism is inborn in us. The day I'm born, I know that my neighbor is family. I know that in Africa, my grandfather is family. My auntie, my cousin, my extended family is family. The child of my cousin is family. In Africa, we are community. That's humanism. We are not selfish. In Africa, in my society, whoever comes in my home must go with food. That's what I learned in my tradition. That's what I learned in my family. That whoever comes at home, in our homestead, there is no root. We say it in my vernacular. That whoever comes, when a foreigner comes, before you say anything, give them a glass of water. And then give them a plate of food. Then ask them, how can I help you? When they have eaten, when they have taken water. That is my tradition. And that is humanism. So when I say humanism is African, that's what I mean. Because our culture traditions told us to be humanistic. That's why Linda used to say that in Africa, you cannot take without giving. If for some of you are following, I'll put it in a book. She could write it everywhere that in Africa, you don't take without giving. That in Africa, you give first before you take. That is humanism. Linda was a humanist. Linda was an African. She observed Africa because she was born in Zimbabwe. She observed Africa and said, oh, these black people, they don't take without giving. That is humanism. So in this book, I argue very so that humanism is purely African. You won't find our brand of humanism anywhere. Though I agree that there are humanists all over the world. But humanism is African. We practice it. You greet everyone in my village. In my village, I don't pass by people. In Europe, I pass by my neighbor and I go. I don't care. In Europe, because everyone, almost everyone is individualistic. You get it? Obas, you will sit with someone in a bus and doesn't greet you. And it's fine. Because people are self-centered so much, observed on their phones, their gadgets. Everyone is suspicious. In Africa, in my village at least, everyone is a neighbor. Everyone is a relative. I don't know how it is in your village, Obasi, but in my village, where I come from, where I'm buried, everyone is a relative. You get it? So humanism.
Yes,
that's true. So humanism.
yes,
because I watched so many Nigerian movies, you know. So I argue in that book that humanism is African. In this book, this is a poetry book I wrote in 2012. That's when it was produced, but it was written so many years before 2012. In this poetry book, I talk about Uganda and of course many other things. And I call it Because I Love This Land. Very beautiful book about my country. And of course, in this book, I'll stop on this one. This is a poetical book called Stolen Legitimacy. And you can see the photo there. It's the photo of Yoweri Museveni, the president of Uganda, and his son, General Kainerugaba, you know. And of course, in this book, I argue that our president is a dictator. is a Thailand, and this book put me in trouble. Anyway, but I don't apologize for writing this book. And I've been consistent to say that the president of Uganda is a dictator, the president of Uganda is a thief, is a tyrant, and is a misruler who has imposed himself on the people of Uganda, and he's leading against our will. So this is the book. Now, as a writer, as a writer, I want to encourage more writers in Africa to come out and write their stories. I've been writing about that, and thanks to Dennis, who normally makes my posters. Anytime I ask, he does make my posters because they're taking the message far. When I look at the analytics of my posts, even when the likes may be 2 or 5, the analytics, the reach of my posters, my posts on Facebook, because of the posters Dennis makes, the reach is wide and far. So I want to thank Dennis so much. Now, as we conclude today's talk, it has been very nice having all of you here. I don't know whether Obasi is back. Obasi, I'm going to invite you to actually speak and conclude the show because you have been on and off. Yes.
Well, thank you, thank you.
Obasi, just 1 minute. After Obasi, we shall go to Mambu. That's Mambu.
Yes.
Yes, Obasi, speak a few words, please. Like in 2 minutes, we go to Mambu, then we go to Nana Gan, and then we conclude.
All right. In a nutshell, I'm sorry for the break. The network was really bad, and when I reconnected with my network, I find out that another technical issue came up. I'm really sorry.
That's
So,
okay.
yeah, to your first address, I would say people misconstrue humanity. Humanity is not actually gotten from any humanist manifesto. It is got, yes, humanist principles. When you
Yeah.
look around your environment, you make up your mind that you become a humanist because you cannot you cannot eat without cooking. You cannot build house without hustling to get money. These are humanism, human centered.
Yeah.
Like some of my neighbors that go from church to church, praying from morning till night. They won't food will not even cook for itself. The prayers will not cook food for them. It's eventually when they come back that they will cook for themselves, which is to tell you that everything is human centered. And in Africa, for instance, there are a lot of values, a lot of names that reflect humanity. I'm from Igbo tribe. So tribe for me is just a geographical expression.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sad that people are taking it to so extreme. It's just a geographical expression for you like say administrative convenience, not 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 beyond that. So in the Igbo tribe I come from, we have name like Madoka. So what it means in English, Madoka means in English is humanity is supreme.
Okay.
Humanity, yes, humanity is supreme.
Mhm.
Madoka. Mado means human. Then Ka means supreme, greater.
Okay. Good.
Yes. Yeah. So there are certain things that then we refer to we have names like Ogobuchionye. My in-law is my God. And who is our in-law? A human being. So some of our values are humanistic in Africa. So humanism is something that resonates with every one of us. Just that because of too much brainwashing and indoctrination, people don't even know themselves. So why we are a bit unique is that we've grown into some level of consciousness. I think the humanist community are made up of conscious people, while others are unconscious people. That is why they will allow themselves to be brainwashed by religious indoctrination because they are yet conscious. They are still unconscious of the fact that everything in life is human centered. I've always said this. Let us not make tribalism, racism, or statism a core value, because as I will always say, I borrowed it from a legend, a political legend in Nigeria, Awolowo. Awolowo said that Nigeria is a mere geographical expression. Yes,
Mm.
yes, but I'm extending that is statement by saying that both race, tribe. If I say I'm a Nigerian, if I say I'm a Ugandan, if I say I'm a Ghanaian, it's just a geographical expression for administrative and political convenience. And sometimes some of these people even take it too far, use some of these tools for their personal benefit. But we as humans should know that being a Nigerian is just for political convenience. So they are misusing it. Or being a Ugandan is just for political convenience. But the core value, the centerpiece, is the fact that we are all humans. We are all humans that breathe. So that is, for instance, let me share a bit story, a bit experience I've had to portray how indoctrinated our people have been. In
Obasi,
my
you are up your voice a bit. You are losing the voice.
Okay, okay, okay.
Voice.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes,
Can you hear me? Okay.
yes.
Uh, uh, yes, during my final year in the university, I met a certain girl, a certain lady. I wanted us to be friends, but you can imagine a person training to be a medical lab scientist refused to date a guy because the guy is a humanist.
Mm.
Yes, it was a bit devastating. And I even tried to explain to the young girl that the young lady that she's an unconscious humanist. I explained to her that she cannot actually pass her exams without reading, so that makes her a humanist. She can't actually do anything. She couldn't have even get admission into university without making efforts. That's humanism, because humanist values, we don't appeal to armchair speculations. We believe so much in hard work, just as my mentor Kato rightly said, hard work. We believe in doing it. We do it. We are action prone. We don't just talk. We don't just make wishes. So I told her that she's along. Yes, that's what I call some of these uh, dogmatists. What I call some
Yeah.
of these, yes, some of these indoctrinated religious people. You are just being an unconscious humanist. Because if you look at it, all of us are humanists. Everything we do are just based on human effort.
Yes.
Just that they are not, yes,
Mm.
due to indoctrination and sometimes appeal to pressure from the population. You know, if you come to Africa, majority of us are religious. So sometimes, most of them know this, but sometimes they don't have the will to actually come out of their shell. They don't have the will to say it. So in order not to be subjected to um, in order to be subjected to some restrictions, some social exclusion, they just decided to play along. So because of this, most of them become unconscious humanists. But some of us who have identified ourselves as humanists, I can call conscious humanists. So as conscious humanists, we should, spread the tentacle. We should try to make others conscious. It's not really their. Sometimes it's not though. Some persons are out of ignorance, while some persons are, because of what they benefit from these organizations, they choose to stick to it, even when they know that it is not true. Even when they know that the idea of God is just a mere anthropomorphism. I call it anthropomorphism because what I even see in some of these holy books are just human attributes. Like in the Bible, the character of God, I see it as a tyrant. Yes, one of the the dreadiest tyrant in history, what is being recorded there as a god. So that is why I define it as anthropomorphism, just specification of some tyrants. So as conscious humanists, we should, make it a clarion call to extend this message to the unconscious humanists, as I call them. So my expectations, I've been saying it, we should go further than this. We should move forward, because backward is a never for us, but forward is an ever. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Obasi. Thank you very much, Obasi. Thank you so much. By accident, I don't know, our brother Emmanuel Mambu is off. I think he's having network issues. I'm too sorry for him. He came on set, but now he's off. Nana, you are parting short. We are going to be closing in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I'm really learning a lot here. I realized from what Obasi said, then I used to be a humanist before even I learned about humanism. So
That's
I'm
true.
really glad. Yeah, I'm really glad. I'm really glad. And I learned something from my granddad. My grandfather, he was a Second World War veteran, and after the war, he really fought for the then Asante Hene, and he gave him a lot of land in Ashanti region. So he was always in his house, and prominent chiefs, people would come to him, and he would tell me to sit there so that I will listen to them. The next time they come and he needs me to remember anything, he will ask me. I was around 5, 6, 7 years.
Mm. I get it. Nana, you're off. Nana, I know the network, of course, disturbs us. Nana has been talking about his grandfather, who was a Second World War veteran. And I've been telling you people, I don't know whether, Obasi, you know, that actually the father of my father was a soldier, a Second World War veteran. And of course, when Nana told me that, oh, my grandfather was a soldier too, a Second World War veteran soldier, I said, we see, maybe our fathers fought in the same unit because they went to different areas of the world. But my father, the father of my father, was a soldier, a Second World War hero who fought alongside the British to fight against other forces. I don't know what they had done to them, because my grandfather was from Africa, Uganda. I don't know what other people had done to him to go and fight. It's his business. But he fought in that war, in that senseless war, which I call a tribal war. My grandfather also fought. Now, Obasi, you are parting short. We are going to part from here. It means we have done our part.
Okay, I will always appreciate this arrangement, because it is not actually easy to put up this big show. Yes. When you made mention of war, it just made me realize. It just made me trace back to what my father would always tell me about the Nigerian Biafran War. You know, I come from that side, the side that wanted to secede in 1967. Yes, a war, kind of a form of genocide on our part. So yes, I'm from that axis. So we always remind me of how they fought, how they had to eat a lizard to survive.
Yes.
War is actually bad. That's why
It's a bad thing.
yes, I've always supported diplomacy. That is why, yes, there is an emerging group still calling for self-determination, the indigenous people of Biafra. Yes, sometimes yes, as a person that is coming from a Lego background, I respect right to self-determination. But sometimes I tend to, you know, disagree with some of the agitation strategy. Given that they tend to promote Judaism. What we are talking about. You are trying to fight a different evil, which is marginalization, and you are fighting it using another evil, which is religion. So why not talk about, yes, if they are listening, I respect self-determination, but if you are agitating, you agitate through the voice of reason. You don't
Mm.
agitate through misinformation, through propagating Judaism, talking about, talking about, egos coming from the Jews. These are, these are propagation of the inferiority complex, taken too far. So, in my parting speech, I will, I will appreciate you once more. I will appreciate all the panelists and the member of the crew of the production crew. They are doing a great job. And once again, I apologize for being late to the show. So thank you so much. I appreciate.
Thank you so much, Council Obasi. Thank you so much. One day I'll come here and I share with you about Biafra and about the Igbo people. I'm not Igbo. You are Igbo, I think.
Yes, I'm Igbo.
Yeah, I've researched about you people a lot, and one day I'll come here and surprise you with your own history and how the Igbo wanted self-determination, and how the Igbo, not you maybe, how the Igbo think that they are Jews. Am I telling a lie?
Some of the agitators feel they are Jewish, but but I disagree with such narrative.
Now you see,
I disagree.
no, of course, I'm just saying some of them because I want to show that I've researched about Igbo people so much that I can write a small thesis about the Igbo people. And what I think is also right about Igbo people, I don't want other people to hear this, but people say that Igbo people are the most educated in Nigeria. And they say that Igbo people are the most intelligent in Nigeria. That Igbo people, wherever they go, they have been getting first class honors, distinctions. People say, I'm not Igbo, I'm not Nigerian, I'm not biased. I'm just telling you what I've been researching, whether it's their propaganda as Igbo people, because they think they are special, they think they're near to God. But the fact is that people say that they are most educated, but also most, when it comes to academics, that they are winners. Anyway, I want to give you a right of reply since it was a positive one. We are going to end on that note. Of course, I want to thank you so much for being part of the show. Thank you, Nana, for being part of the show. Of course, Mambo made it, but someone stumbled. And of course, Tauya Chinama from Zimbabwe. Our producers, Dennis and Brian, thank you so much for the show. See you in the next one. We sign out. Bye-bye.